He says, "Hey, I love the show. We have a local 8-race mountain bike series starting soon, and a friend and I race a few of the races each year. He beats me every time. I started doing TrainerRoad mostly to beat him this year. Good on you, Tom. I like that. Specific goal. Beat that person." So he says, "My wife is the only person who knows I've been doing it." Ooh, he's been secret training. He says, "My question is, in our first race, do I race my own race, or if possible, do I settle in behind him as long as I can and crush him at the end?" He says, "Thanks. If the race goes well, I'm going to do all 8 this year."
This is you at nationals, John, right? This is the question.
Yeah. Do you go off on your own or do you mark people?
Yeah, and it's
Um,
different in mountain biking versus road a ton.
yes, because mountain bike racing, it will always boil down to an individual time trial for us amateurs. Like if you're really the top pros, then maybe you can play games and tactics. But if you go to any amateur mountain bike race, it's an individual time trial, is usually what it boils down to.
With passing though, the passing is the one thing, and
Mhm.
descending and getting stuck behind
So
people.
position is
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, extremely important. So, I mean, here's my vote. Tom, if you know that you are within reach of him, then you just grab his wheel and you stay on his wheel. If he starts to do things where you feel like, oh my gosh, this is a foolish move, you let those sort of things go with the plan to uncork it at the end. However, because I'd much rather do that than bet on myself and do some risky move where I go all in and I end up blowing up, right? So I think that that's the best approach. But I could see you taking the other approach of just going from the gun if you know, for example, that your friend is not a strong starter. And if your friend is not a strong starter who doesn't fight for position, that sort of stuff, you can get a gap and make them work too hard so that they're gassed at the end, or you can spook them. I tried to do that with Brandon and it almost worked last year. We did a mock short track race and it was like 480 something watts up at like 8,000 feet for like a minute and something, a minute and a half.
Is that a lot?
Well, yeah.
Sorry.
Look at that.
Just joking.
Ouch. That was a
That's a
ton
lot.
for
It's a
me.
whole bunch of lot.
It was a lot. Yeah. And I dropped Brandon. And Brandon said at that point in the race, he was like, if this is how hard cross country racing is, I'm screwed. I'm just sitting up. But then I blew up spectacularly. And Brandon saw me coming back. And then he just blew by me the next lap. So, I mean, but you may be able to do it within reason and not be so foolish as me and maybe spook them. So
Yeah, before we get into what Amber's wrote, what John is saying too is to put out the most watts, and it's cross country is tough because you have climbs and then you have descents where you can't pedal. But generally, a steady state effort on those climbs is going to get you faster than if you go hard, easy, hard, easy, hard, easy, hard, easy, to an extent, because there's going to be times you're going to want to maintain momentum over little pitches and stuff like that. But if you just go, you probably felt it on one of those efforts where you start a 30-second attack and then you have to hold like 95% for 8 minutes, and that 95% for 8 minutes is you are dying. Well, you could have probably held 100% for 10 minutes, no problem, and it wouldn't have been a hard thing. But that little 30-second kicker just destroys you. So in the race happens the same way, but on the road, because of aerodynamics, that is usually the winning move, is you have to get separation and then go. But Amber, you've got a lot of stuff written here. You want to talk about that?
A lot of it's just echoing what Jonathan said, honestly, because I think there's multiple ways of approaching this, but it kind of sounds like your secret fitness is your superpower here. And I think tactically, when people are underestimating you, it gives you a lot of options. So I'm not a mountain biker, so I would defer to Jonathan's advice here. But when I read this question, the first thing I thought of is, I love this shark in the water tactic of lulling your competitor into complacency. But I generally like to adopt the mindset of like, let's see what I can do. And so I'd worry that you might limit yourself by waiting too long and focusing too much on this particular competitor. So I would suggest potentially doing kind of a combination of both. Start out by getting a sense of your buddy's pace. And like Jonathan said, if he's not a good starter, that already might put you on the back foot if you're behind him and he's already got you in bad position right at the get-go of the race. But so that's something to consider. But you could just start out by getting a sense of his pace and where he's at on the day, and then reassess. If it feels like that pace is just way too easy for you, then maybe it's worth going early and giving it a shot. And if it's feeling a little bit more difficult than you anticipated, then you might want to wait a little bit longer before you really make your move. So I would take some time to assess the situation and get a better feel for exactly what's happening on the day, and then adapt your plan accordingly. But again, like Jonathan said, that start and key positioning points on the course, which will set you up for maybe a long single track section, those are really important too. So I wouldn't count those out.
Allow me to make some assumptions about your friend in this case. He's a competitive, red-blooded male who always beats you. And if you are on his wheel, I promise you, he will not be sandbagging you. He will be trying to get rid of you, and he'll be wondering, what the heck is wrong with me? I can't drop him, right? That will frustrate him. So I bet if you do the shark in the water, like Amber's talking about, and you hang on his wheel, I bet he's going to go to his limits. So if you can stick with those limits or go beyond them, that's fantastic. The best spot to hit people, honestly, with a cross-country race is many times not on the most obvious climb, because everyone's going to go hard. And if it's a short climb, anybody can go hard for a little bit. It's over the top of that, or it's in those steady state sections thereafter. That's when the real gaps happen. Even if you watch World Cup racing, it's not that somebody gets blown up on, or you'll see a gap open up on a steep climb maybe, but the real time lost is after that. That's when it really hits. So that's the best tip I could give for you guys, but I can't reveal my tactics for nationals. Don't want to talk about that at all. But Chad, does any of this resonate to you? Because I remember a point when Nate said that, you said, you will never beat me on this podcast to Nate. Yep.
I cut that out. Like, I need to find that, because that should make it into a poster.
It's all part of my motivational process. And it works. It totally works. So I'll own that.
You were coaching Nate. That's honestly, how you raised Nate up. Yeah.
I want to view this through a wider lens and just take a step back and just acknowledge that you are talking about a friendship here. And that when you make your racing about beating one person, I can spin things a certain way. So just be clear on that. I've had it. I mean, Nate and I, it was all in good spirit, but it did make things a little less fun for me for a while there, I'll be honest. But I had a duathlete competitor back in the day, and we were good friends. And racing and beating him frequently did not further our friendship.
Flex.
So it's a flex because he was pretty fast. But just maybe think about that.
That's a good point.
Really good point.
Yeah. It depends on who they are. That's a good personality thing. Sometimes it can be super fun, and it's like a Strava KOM. It's not a big deal if somebody wins, the other person wins. And I guess it depends on who the person is, right? And some people, the person who's the Strava KOM, it's a big deal for them too, in either situation.
Yeah, I think that it can be really helpful and fun. Once again, remember, these aren't professional athletes. If it's the sort of personalities that can, and you have the sort of friendship that lasts far beyond the course, then it can be really fun, and it can be a cool thing, and you'll be happy for your friend will be happy for you. It's been that way for me. In the cases when I beat somebody or somebody beats me and it was unexpected, you're still happy for them, so, and I love the rivalries. I love that sort of stuff. It's fun. None of us get to race the tour and have these rivalries in front of the world, but that doesn't matter. We can have them just with our close friends and stuff. So it's a blast.
It can be a lot of fun and add a lot, especially, but really that only works if both parties are on the same page, right? That's the really key thing. If you're both in it to play and have fun and get better at what you're doing, and so you're pushing each other and appreciating how the other is pushing you to achieve better and better results or become better and better as an athlete, that's all positive and that's all good. But it is important that you're both on the same page. So Chad, that's a really good point.
Amber, did you ever have that person in the pro peloton, and maybe you weren't on the same page? You just silently checked results and you're like, I beat that person, because you're hyper competitive. I know you are.
I am hyper competitive, but I'm really, really open about it too. And I'll say, I don't think it was ever just one person, but there were a bunch of us, a bunch of professional riders, and we'd see each other in the peloton and we would push each other and we would show no mercy in the race. But then, we'd be couldn't wait to go on a coffee ride the next morning and break it down and talk about what happened. But all in good fun and all with that understanding of, hey, we're all here to do a job. We're all here to get better at what we're doing. And if we can push each other to be better, it's gravy. It's awesome. So I think I was really lucky in that the people that I was really working with and racing with and against were all very much on the same page with that. But I've definitely seen it play out otherwise. Thankfully, I can't remember a scenario where I've really had a negative experience with that.
We have this at Cape Epic.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
It's all fun. It is a source of motivation, and it's going to be
Yeah.
interesting. And that first day, you know, we'll beat them by like 5 minutes, and then after those days, it'll be like 30 minutes, and we'll go to an hour, and then 2 hours, and it'll be.
And then
We'll
at
have
that point,
so
we're just
much more
supporting
fun.
you all. Then it's just commiseration at that point, right? We're all somehow going to get through this thing together. So
I don't know how much satisfaction you can draw from a victory over two really hungover dudes, but do you?
I don't think you guys are going to drink a lot. Maybe like one, but because it's such a huge effort, I don't think it's going to happen.
No,
we're going to
it's
be
probably
so
not.
exhausted, like so exhausted. It's going to be like, I think looking at it, I don't see how it's going to be. Like 6 hours is going to be a pretty fast day for Brandon and I on a lot of those stages. That's a lot. Have we thought this through? Like what we're doing?
I need to start
You're
training.
better off not thinking it through, Jonathan.
No, I
think
just keep banking on something coming up that prevents us from going.
Well, I got pregnant.
COVID.
I guess I better get cracking.
108 days. That's what I have down.
That's great. It's coming. I don't think it's gonna. It looks like it's gonna go forward. So
There's just a spike in South Africa at the moment, but their spike,
is there?
they manage their spikes pretty well. Yeah.
okay, yeah. So we'll see. Regardless, I'd rather do it now than any point later. It's one of those things where like I'm never going to be like I'm fully prepared to do Cape Epic full gas every day. Like that's not going to happen. So I'm going to train for it, but it's never going to be easy. You know, it's going to be hard no matter what.
If you like this video, make sure you give us a thumbs up.
If you didn't like this video, you can give it a thumbs down, but let us know what you would have done differently in the comments below.
If you want to see more of these videos, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you want to become a faster cyclist, check out TrainerRoad.com.
Do it.